Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe from the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
Listening to the Wrestling Podcast post-show where we talk about all of the other stuff that we didn't have time for on the live stream. It's Stancy and Romoran checking in here. No Chino because he has another thing to get to tonight right after recording. So let's get right down to it and start with AEW. Ito medyo fresh kasi kapapanood lang natin kanina. So Trent Beretta has turned on Orange Cassidy, diba? So alam natin na nag-implode na yung best friends. And today, on Dynamite, sabi niya, na Orange Cassidy being the best held him and Chuck Taylor down. But Chuck Taylor, nung pinapressure siya ni Trent Beretta, he actually chose to side with Orange Cassidy. And while I was watching this, I was actually expecting na Chuck Taylor would bait and switch. Na he'd be like, "Nee, teka lang, Trent, ganito lang." And then boom, he'll hit Orange Cassidy with his finisher or some shit and get to a 2-on-1 beatdown. But instead, we got Chuck defending Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Trent, to me, before Orange Cassidy proved yung galing niya, I always thought that he was the supposed breakout star. Nung panahon early 2010s pa, back when he was part of the Dude Busters on SmackDown, right? Mm-hmm. I always thought he was that good, and I feel like they're breaking him apart from the best friends to finally push him as a single star. The way I guess they did that for Stu Grayson, I guess, or something like that. I think deserve naman niya. It's nice to see him get his due before he gets run down even more. There is a lot of wear on his body right now. So I don't know where it's leading. I don't know if he's gonna get a really big push, lalo na sa really crowded waters of AEW. But I do like that they're really setting him up for just a singles run. No Chuck, all him. Diba? And deserve naman niya. He's really good. I do agree with him when he says na being with Orange Cassidy did hold him and Chuck down. And I felt like parang si Orange Cassidy was a Wolverine to the best friends X-Men, right? Mm-hmm. So I think may kaso naman siya to turn heel. So I'm excited for this. It's interesting. When Chuck chose Orange Cassidy, I already knew that they were planning to push Trent not to the moon, but to somewhere.
Yeah. Probably not the way I wanted the best friends to end. Like, I guess I always had this idea that the best friends would always be AEW's pure babyface unit. Like, yeah. The way na we've said on the podcast, yeah, you'd have the New Day or someone like Rey Mysterio na for the kids, or lagi silang babyface, or even locally, diba, the super friends. Like, people would call them corny, but you do need that pure babyface, if not character, then team, diba, that people can always cheer for. So there's a part of me that's sad na, the best friends are no more, or that, nawala na nga si Chris Statlander. Now Trent has to go off on his own as well.
I don't think Chris Statlander's gone. It's just that aligned lang siya kay Stokely. So that's pretty much it. I don't think it's
wala siyang ambag dito sa breakup nila. Yeah. She has no opinion on it.
That's true. I guess, yeah.
So yun. And Danhausen's been nowhere to be found either. So it's really just Chuck.
Danhausen's been released.
Oh, really?
Yeah, na-release siya
I didn't know this.
Yeah. Some say it was because of being associated with Punk, but when who else got released? Basta yun. He got released as part of the spring cleaning a few weeks back.
Oh shit. Okay. That sucks. Anyway. All right, moving on to WWE stuff. Ito, we kind of touched on this nung live stream. But apparently, Raw is too deep for its own good. And I mean, I guess that's a good problem to have, diba? When you have such a stacked roster.
No, it's still a
gagawin
problem.
lahat.
It's still a problem eh. Kasi if you're paying attention closely and hindi ka lang nadadala sa feelings mo and you know your crowd reactions, you would have noticed that on this week's episode of Raw alone, there were two units that were imploding, Imperium and Alpha Academy. It just so happens that Gable hadn't completely turned on his wards yet, his students yet, diba? And then you had a turn where DIY was teasing a turn. And then last week you had Gable turning on Sammy, diba? And Judgment Day is also teasing their own implosion. So tatlong groups ang magi-implode. So that's what I was saying earlier during the stream. That there does need to be some editing. I know that you want to tell all these stories and give all these people airtime, but that's at least space things out, right? And not have them happen all at the same time. I'm sure that could have been managed, right? I'm sure you could have extended yung tension ng ano, you know. Yes, I get yung kunyari, the Judgment Day, it's a slow burn. It's not happening just yet, but they've also been teasing this for the longest time now, since before WrestleMania. So I know it's all happening at the same time. The fact that there's tension, it's all happening at the same time. So I don't know what others feel about it. I don't know if others have pointed it out. Some people might say, no, okay, it's nice that, you know, these guys are getting TV time, but still, there does need to be some editing involved. And you can't just stick everything, you can't just throw everything at the wall at the same time. Kasi, syempre, some of these will have their returns be diminished, diba? And it's not good either.
Yeah. So, yeah, now that you've pointed it out, yeah, it has hit me na all of these things are kind of happening all at once, diba? Same episode pa nga. I don't know. I don't know how you work around this. Is it to just make sure na stories are distinct from one another?
No, for this kasi, okay, gets ko naman na, okay, kunyari, the Judgment Day, may logical progression na. They've been teasing this for months, diba? Since Survivor Series pa nga ata, diba?
No, since Priest won Money in the Bank.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, that should have been the priority first. Yeah. So why would I have the Imperium breakup now? Nobody asked for an Imperium breakup now. So
yeah, Unimage out of nowhere.
Diba?
There were no signs. I mean, I guess there were in the past. Pero from, you know, for all intents and purposes, yung storytelling nila parang, oh, Imperium has been the most solid unit.
Dahil lang natalo si Gunther, mag-break up na kayo, or, you know, magagalit siya. I mean, like, you could have saved that for next month or whatever. And then you have DIY teasing a heel turn 1 week after Gable turned on Sammy. Tapos Alpha Academy is getting new recruits, right? And they could have also delayed some of that, diba? I know that, you know, you have to address the elephant in the room of Gable getting a new attitude, a new personality after snapping. Yeah. Pero it should have just been enough. It should have just been properly spaced out, diba?
Mm-hmm. All right. Sticking with the WWE, let's shift to the music of WWE and talk about Def Rebel. And man, people have been firing shots at Def Rebel on social media. Sobrang daming memes, and a lot of it is because people have noticed na medyo may pattern si Def Rebel lately with the new songs that superstars have been getting. It's like yung hook, so that you know who's coming out, and then a song that just isn't as catchy as the old songs used to be. So, for example, AJ Styles got his new theme, diba? It's a vocal hook of him going, "They don't want none." Tapos biglang, you know, yung new theme niya, diba? I mean, some of it works. Like yung kay LA Knight, diba yung robotic na LA Knight, and then his G-Funk theme comes out, right? So like that works. The Roman Reigns theme is a Def Rebel banger. I think we can all agree that it's one of their best. But the ones lately haven't been that all that great. And then may report pang lumabas this week that apparently Def Rebel worked on a remix for Voices, yung theme ni Randy Orton. And according to the report, Randy Orton turned it down minutes after hearing it. So, deserve pa ng Def Rebel, and they're a group, by the way. They're headed by Doug Davis, who is the son of Clive Davis, who is a Grammy award-winning producer behind yung soundtrack lang naman ng The Bodyguard, yung album na Supernatural by Santana.
Siya yung madalas nag-guest sa American Idol ng panahon.
Yeah. Pero tatay yun ni Def Rebel or some guy from Def Rebel. Okay? So, deserve ba ni Def Rebel, the group, yung hate that they're getting on social media? Yan ang unang tanong.
Okay, I know I say a lot of shit that goes against popular opinion. Pero I sincerely mean this when I say that some of you are too hard on Def Rebel. Kasi he has been, or they rather, sorry. They have been known to have some bangers. The Roman Reigns theme, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The Trick Williams theme,
yes.
even though half of that is like the audience and Booker T making the song.
Yeah.
The LA Knight, the aforementioned LA Knight theme.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea Ripley, yeah, which people have sang along to.
Yeah.
Diba? Or dahil ba sa kumanta yun? Whichever band they got
Motionless
to sing.
in White, yung banda na favorite.
Ayun. Yeah. So dahil doon. But I wouldn't say Def Rebel is the shit. I mean, is the shits, the drizzling shits. Because I feel like it's a matter of the WWE forcing so many sudden theme changes. I said this nung Royal Rumble a few months back, and it was because a lot of people were complaining that, I didn't recognize who half of the people at the Royal Rumble were because I didn't recognize their theme song. So to me, that tells me a problem. The problem is, ang dami nila pinalitan just because they wanted to get rid of CFO's handprints, diba? They wanted to divest themselves of as many CFO's works as possible kasi like falling out to that, diba? So I feel like they were in such a rush to change all of those things that Def Rebel had no choice but to make some generic sounding bangers, generic sounding songs, right? And that contributes to a lot of the bland production that people are complaining about. But let's not forget that there are memorable Def Rebel songs, diba? And I think the problem is back in the day, or when people grew up watching wrestling, yung theme song change was usually accompanying a gimmick change or a alignment change, diba?
Yeah.
So the fact that you force it randomly out of nowhere when nobody was asking for a theme change, diba? Yun yata yung problema ng mga tao, and they just don't know how to
express it.
Yeah, they don't know how to articulate it, so they blame Def Rebel kasi si Def Rebel didn't hold up their end as well of making a catchy song, diba? So I don't think it's only Def Rebel's fault. So that's why I think he gets a lot of undue hate because he's just doing his job, right? Sinabihin lang naman siya na, gawa mo siya ng bagong theme kasi ayaw na namin ng CFO's theme. So right. That to me is the unfair part.
Magandang araw para sa mga mas nakakalurky na storya,
mas masayang kwentuhan,
mas nakakautot sa kaligayahan na chismisan,
mga kaabang-abang na storya.
Aba, tutok na lagi sa Tambalan Podcast.
I'm not gonna lie, I've seen the memes. Nakakatawa siya.
Oo, nakakatawa naman talaga siya.
Yung Def Rebel supposed remix ng team ni John Cena or ni Undertaker or God forbid Triple H. I'd like to think that yung there are certain stars who are going to be immune from getting a Def Rebel remix, like Sami Zayn. I don't think you can change Worlds Apart anymore after the last couple of years, diba? Randy Orton, the aforementioned Randy Orton. Shinsuke Nakamura is another one. I don't think you can change those. You can't touch those, diba? Feeling ko mag-aalsa yung buong WWE universe. Then again, I'm actually going through Def Rebel Spotify right now. There are actually more bangers than we think, diba? Seth Rollins' theme, which people love singing to every freaking week, is a Def Rebel banger. Io Sky, that's a Def Rebel song.
Tsaka, tawag doon, I just wanted to point out yung joke that people said Ilya was crying at the end of the match because he was going to get a Def Rebel team. He already has a Def Rebel team. Def Rebel has been around far longer than people realize. He wasn't just a hire in 2023.
Yeah. Def Rebel's been around since, I believe, 2019, like right before COVID.
2019, yeah. Alala ko yun yung time na sinibak na si Fos, diba?
Yeah. So, yung theme ni Ilya ngayon, if you think you're mourning yung magiging theme niya sa main roster, I already mourned the first Ilya theme.
Yeah,
okay, because the first Ilya theme was really good. So,
yeah,
the fact that we got this.
It's just really unfair kasi I would blame first the direction of having Def Rebel suddenly make new themes for people who, I agree, don't really need new themes. Pero sinabihin lang naman siya na gawan ng bagong kanta eh. Diba?
Oh. Diba? I mean, I guess for all of us who used to complain na, hindi ko na alam sino yung lalabas. I mean, I guess the hook is the supposed solution for that, diba? Like, you'd hear, watch me. Oh, Liv Morgan's gonna come out. They don't want none. AJ Styles is gonna come out. Diba? I mean, ginusto natin to, diba? Oh, here you go. That's what Def Rebel's doing. In a sense, I guess Def Rebel's actually listening to wrestling Twitter.
Yeah. It's just, Twitter can be super harsh out there. I don't think he deserves like a lot of that hate they're getting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, okay. More stuff from WWE. There were releases since we last recorded a podcast. Ito, di natin napag-usapan nung weekend reactions as well. So the full list as of recording includes all three members of In The Share. That's Jinder Mahal, Veer Mahan, and Sangha, Xia Li, Zion Quinn, Von Wagner, and Cameron Grimes. And then dahil wala na si Von Wagner, may related news na si Robert Stone is now producing on NXT as of this past week. So I guess the biggest shock here was Cameron Grimes because people seem to be really high on Cameron Grimes, diba? And for him to be part of this list was a shocker. May reports din na lumalabas na the releases had something to do with people not developing at the pace that WWE wanted given their tenure on the roster or on in the company. So, it's never nice to hear na someone's losing their job. And I actually watched yung selfie video ni Cameron Grimes.
That was tough.
Na umiyak siya. Yeah, it's probably on the same level of tough as the Drake Maverick video from several years ago. So, what do you think about this one?
If that's the real reason that they weren't developing as fast, I don't think that applies or that should apply to Cameron Grimes because we already know he's good. It's just that, he wasn't being given a lot of TV time. Lalo na you're on SmackDown. Again, as I said in live stream, very few people get to be on SmackDown unless you have like an actual story going for you. Diba? So just on that alone, the deck is stacked against you if you're a SmackDown mid-carder. Diba? So maybe that's not the reason. Maybe it is. I can understand why. There was actually a mutual I had on Threads who theorized that the Asians who got released were actually part of a work. But at this point, I don't think it's a real work anymore. Na talagang na-release talaga sila.
Yeah.
It sucks. I just hope our boy Dante Chen doesn't get released.
Yeah.
I say he was one of those OGs na NXT 2.0, right? And medyo nanganganib na yung ibang tao doon. yung mga pandemic hires or pre-pandemic hires. So unfortunately those are the breaks, especially for those who aren't as experienced. I really feel like Cameron Grimes is the only one here who is a little bit unjustly released. The most he could have done was what? Send him back to NXT, right? Diba? And have him resume his role before he got drafted. So after years of releases in this era, we already know that these people will always find places to work in. Lalo na they've gotten some significant time on WWE TV. Jinder Mahal is a former world champion, but he's also relatively up there in age. So if he didn't want to work as a pro wrestler anymore, I think he could easily retire and call it a day, and nothing would be taken away from him. Diba?
He's only 37. He's not as up there as we think.
Yeah, pero alam mo yun, his body is also really broken down. If you are aware of his injury history, so I think if they choose to work or to continue working, there will always be a spot for them. So I'm not like, it's not that I don't feel bad for them. It's just that I know that they're gonna be okay.
Medyo sad lang kasi I guess in terms of representation, that there goes all the Indian wrestlers that WWE had.
Yeah. The Indian experiment again does not fly, unfortunately.
Yeah, and with regard to yung Chinese representation with Xia Li gone, ang natira na lang si Wendy Chu, who's Chinese American, Dante Chen, who is Chinese Singaporean, and Boa. Tama.
Boa is still alive. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Isn't he teaming with Dante Chen?
Yeah, but I haven't seen them team together in a while.
Yeah, but Boa is still with the company, as far as I know.
Yun ang matigas.
I guess. All right, let's hop on over to TNA and talk about some returns that happened over the last week. Broken Matt Hardy showed up, and he's brought the Broken Matt gimmick back with him. So ito na, people were talking about, his contract is expired. Saan magpapakita si Matt Hardy? Here he is in TNA, and Mike Santana popped up sa TNA. Sami Callihan's back on TNA. I think the biggest surprise here really is Broken Matt.
Yeah. Broken Matt finds a way to keep popping back up. He's like, para siyang ipis. I don't know if you are aware of this, but a lot of people are really tired of Matt Hardy.
So I'm not aware of it. Ano daw, umay or...
Yeah.
Did he harass anyone?
No, he didn't harass anyone. It's just that people don't think he's good enough.
Anymore.
Yeah. People don't, outside of the whole broken gimmick, parang they don't really... It's back to the late 2000s, early 2010s hatred of Matt Hardy. Like, he always had his reputation, and then he rehabilitated himself for the broken gimmick, the broken universe. Then ngayon balik na sila ulit to hating Matt Hardy. Kasi he's no Jeff, right? People always have always loved Jeff more. So yun, I hope that the broken gimmick isn't like a cow that he's milked for far too long. So I only tune into TNA every now and then.
Yeah.
But I hope na hindi pa to super laos. Kasi I don't know. I also don't know if I still want to see the broken gimmick. It could be funny. Like, he always tries to make it funny. And a lot of times he succeeds. So I hope that he gets that creative freedom to make it funny again.
Eto, saan ka mas nauumay? with Broken Matt doing his shtick at 49, or with Chris Jericho getting a new nickname every 6 months?
Jericho, for sure. Jericho has proven himself to be clout chasing at this point. When he works for the younger talent, I know he's clout chasing.
So, okay, I'm a Jericho fan. Everyone who listens to the podcast probably has heard me say it at some point throughout our 10 years. But something about hearing himself be called the learning tree and having this new theme na I am the learning tree, dun ako na parang, alam mo, parang yung umay, dun siya pumasok. And I guess I'm the last person to say this, but like, damn, naumay ako. Or nauumay na ako.
I think Jericho isn't self-aware enough to understand that he's overstaying his current welcome. Like, hindi naman siya super umay. Like, Jericho can still go. Like, I still respect what he's able to do. But he does need an extended break. Kasi since breaking up the JSA, diba? JAS.
Yeah.
Parang nobody really wants to see Jericho right now.
He's building another faction with
I know.
Big Bill.
Big Bill, yeah.
The learning tree.
How many young guy factions can he put himself in? But so at this point, Jericho isn't really moving the needle anymore. Yeah, it's time to give him a break. Let him go on a cruise, another of his cruises again, and give him the rest of the year off. I think we're okay with not having Jericho on Dynamite anymore.
So there, that's the Wrestling Podcast post show. If you want to get your thoughts in, you want to react to anything we said on the show, you know where to find us. It is at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok. Individually, it is at Roas War, at Gino Supersized, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. Thank you very much to the Pod Network, especially Babyface producer Jasper, for all of their help behind the scenes. And we'll catch you next week for our weekend reactions, picks of the week, and of course, our Thursday live stream at 7 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. For Romoran, Chino Liao, Emil Nate, and Rowan ASH, my name is Stan C, saying stay safe, stay healthy and hydrated, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Later, Outcasts.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.